Hello friends, it has been over a month since I have put up a video. I am so very sorry. Life has just gotten a little crazy busy and the garden is treating me very well, but also keeping me intensely busy. So I don't have time to do a full garden tour, but let's take a look. This is technically the second week in September, and our frost date, our first frost, can come any day. All right, this is the lettuce bed. We got a bunch of lettuces bolting down here and going to seed. I plan on collecting those and keeping them. I did get something that got into the garden and ate a bunch of the heads down here, my second planting. So everything that you see that's bolting right now is actually the first planting of lettuce, and everything that was second planting, well, not everything. There's some of these things here that are second planting and they did okay, but I definitely had something come into the garden and ate all of these things. I planted this little guy here, is actually a loofah. This is tiny, it's probably not gonna amount to anything. I started the seeds on time, but unfortunately I didn't get it transplanted in time. So I doubt that I will. Oh, look, there's a little bee. So I'm not gonna probably get any loofahs, or at least nothing large. I don't even think I'll be able to save the seed from it because they're not mature. But I've gotten a lot of lettuce, a lot of bok choy, some collards. The collards here died because this bed was flooded a couple of times. But I'm not done, and I will be collecting seed from it. This bed was primarily the green bean and leftover bed. Okay, so I had a whole bunch of peas down here and they were doing amazingly, and then something got into the garden. We've since electrified the gates so it can't get in the gate. This is another loofah, all of the leafy one there. I had melons on this side, but again, I started them in time. I just didn't get them in the ground in time. So the peas are unfortunately a no-go. These are tomatoes that I had pruned and then put the tops into the soil because they just look so healthy. I'll get a couple of the tomatoes out of it. I honestly haven't been paying it any attention at all. So it's kind of doing whatever it's gonna do. Then I have some green beans that are on the bottom. These are regular like contender beans or something like that. They're doing very well. I did plant some sunflower seeds and I'm so happy I did because they absolutely, I love them. They make me so happy. Lots of pollinators. So lots of beans. I'm letting these be dried beans, so we've got a ways yet for them. But I will be collecting dried beans except for these. These are the Chinese red noodle bean. They took a very long time to get started. This was another bed that was flooded twice, and some of the beans shifted, the bean plants shifted, but they did sustain. And I noticed that the wasps seem to like, the yellow jackets seem to like the red noodle beans. I mean, look at the size of that thing. This is my hand. It's like 2 hands long. They're huge. Same thing on the other side of the trellis. Just a bunch of beans, different types of beans. I had a couple extra cucumber plants that I put at the bottom of the trellis here. These were ones that I didn't get planted outside in time. I started them super early. I won't do that again. It was useless. There was really no reasoning behind it. I've heard people say that to make sure that, you know, you don't start them indoors. It's not really worth it. So I wanted to give it a try just to see. And as you can see, I'm not really gonna get anything. These plants succumbed to diseases at the same time as the ones that I did plant outside. Direct so there's no point. Green beans in here again. Some of them, whatever it was that got into my garden, which I think was a woodchuck, ate those as well. Oh look, I've got one pea that survived there. Ha! I did have some peas right here that survived. Hopefully I'll get some off of there. I think it's not too late in my season that I could plant more. I just don't know that I have the energy. Okay, this bed right here has my beautiful sunflowers. On this side are a bunch of different carrots. Got zinnias everywhere. Zinnias. So I have carrots along this side. And at the very, very end were some extra cucumbers that I planted. The cucumbers did okay. I originally put this little path down the middle so I could walk on it and pick underneath the trellis thing that I built. That would have been a great idea, except for the fact that I have toads that live under there and I can't walk under it because I'm terrified of squishing toads. So I don't use it. This is the other side of the cucumber trellis. So at the base of the cucumbers, I planted dill, which I think would have been great. I don't think I got the dill in ground at the right time. I think I should have done dill a couple weeks earlier than the cucumbers to help with beetles and that sort of thing. I've gotten, as you can see, the cucumbers are just, I mean, they're succumbing to disease and pests, and I just don't have it in me to spray anything or do anything. Well, I'm not a sprayer to begin with, but I just don't have it in me to do anything. I'm still getting teeny tiny little ones. I did actually pick enough for dinner tonight. So I've pickled, I was just adding it up. I've actually pickled 10 quarts of cucumbers, so that's not too bad. My absolute favorite happens to be the silver slicers. That one looks kind of wonky because the water, it hasn't rained lately, so they're a little dry on the dry side. But I absolutely love the silver slicer. I did not plant nearly enough of them, and I know better, and I will definitely be planting more of those. I also liked the Market More, I think it was Market More 76, so I will be planting more of those. And I also picked a lot of them when they are teeny tiny, so a little bit larger than that, but not by much, because I wanted the pickling cucumbers, the teeny tiny little ones that are sweet like sweet gherkins. So that's that bed. This bed right here, again with the sunflowers at the end of it. I have roselle right here. I've picked a couple of pods of roselle after it's flowered. It looks like it's finally starting to really come into huge bushiness right now, but I think the sunflowers have shaded it out quite a bit. That sunflower unfortunately got tipped over in a rainstorm. I mean, it's right there and it was nice and tall, and then it kind of drooped. So, but I'm leaving it because the pollinators are still reaching it. I have all kinds of perennials. There's my comfrey, that purpley one. It's actually beautiful flowers. Let me show you. They're really, really pretty flowers. So I'm super excited that the comfrey did well. Got mint and peppermint and mountain mint. Oh, that's gonna bloom. That's gonna be absolutely beautiful. That's my bee balm, lemon bee balm. So I'm excited about that. I have dill mixed in there. That was the weedy thing. This is a terribly weedy patch. I had a bunch of cabbage here that just, uh-oh. Yikes, I don't know what the husband just ran over with the mower, but that did not sound good. I had a bunch of cabbage that was planted right here, and unfortunately they just rotted away. I don't even know why. These are looking pretty good. They're not heading up yet though. They're still very loose. So I have a feeling I have something that I need to look up. I planted an extra Costoluto Genovese tomato here. It succumbed to blight, obviously, but I've done nothing for this one. I kind of wanted to see what would happen to the tomato plant if I just left it in the ground and didn't stake it up, didn't do anything to it. I haven't pruned it at all, not even once. And so this one is kind of held out with the blight a lot longer than the other two plants that I had trellised up and pruned. So I guess I got a few more tomatoes out of this one than the other one, but it's definitely at the end. I've gotten chives, lots and lots of chives. You can see where I've cut them off, but they grow back really fast. We definitely got a year's worth of chives out of just my 4 plantings, so I'm super happy about that. The celery, I had 6 different celery plants here, and there are only 2 left that survived. The other 4 along here Yep, you can see only 2. The other 4 seem to rot away. Same thing with the cabbage. I have no idea why. And clearly I've given up weeding this bed, so it's a mess. But these are so pretty. Look at that. They did bloom at one time. They bloomed and, oh, there's one. Very pretty. All right, with this bed, it had a lot of pest issues. I have fought cabbage caterpillars, something fierce, with this bed. The kale, man, this was like a never-ending battle. And then the second run of them was much smaller, and they didn't seem to last as long. I don't know what pest got them, but something ate them, a lot of them, before I ended up getting to them. But you can see where there's a lot of damage. I have picked quite a bit of kale and dehydrated it for winter. Now that it's getting cool again, I should pick some of these and put it in the freezer for soups and stuff. We've already eaten some of the rutabagas, but there's one left right there. I didn't replace them with anything. The purple top rutabaga hasn't grown nearly as fast as the Navone rutabaga. So that one was much larger. We had that. I actually cooked that up like you would hash brown type things. Oh, and look at this. I had Italian parsley, several of them here, and I was super excited to find out that I had the swallowtail caterpillars, and they've actually survived the caterpillars. I mean, there's not a ton of parsley, but I'm very pleased to see that there's parsley left after the caterpillars were done. I felt incredibly blessed to have the caterpillars. Then I have fennel that went to seed. I picked maybe 3, harvested maybe 3 fennel bulbs before they went to seed. So I'll collect those. And I love these candy cane zinnias. My favorite are these ones that are like half and half. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? I love that. This bed is the children's garden bed. I had mostly the bean teepee and a couple of the small cherry tomatoes, which have totally outgrown their stakes right now, which I knew they would, obviously. I mean, I have on this side, I have cucamelons, which I haven't seen any. I have ground cherries, I have borage, I have peas, which the critter did not get these peas, so I'm allowing these to dry out so I can collect the seed for these. Lots of zinnias because I thought they would be super fun. And then I put in a squash down here that hasn't done anything, nasturtium that covered up by the zinnias, and cucumber and melon that I just got in the ground too late. The sunflowers are magnificent. Aren't they pretty? I love them. Then we have more zinnias that was supposed to separate my daughter's garden from the children's garden. Didn't work very well. These are Mexican sunflowers. They're supposed to be like torch, I think, torch variety. They haven't bloomed yet, but we're getting there. They're going to be relatively small, but there should be a lot of them. And then she's got some marigolds in there, some lime zinnias. I think that's stevia. Bachelor buttons, which are gone now. Something likes to eat those, and I have no idea what. And oh, this is interesting to show you. Hang on. This is absolutely lovely. Her black pansy is just beautiful. Isn't that pretty? I want to try and see if I can collect seed from this one. It's really hard to catch, and we only have one that survived. This is borage. I planted borage in many different spots in the garden just to bring in the pollinators, and it worked wonderfully. I did hear somebody say that I'll never have to plant it again, that it self-seeds quite readily, so we'll see. They love them. Let me see if I can find just some seeds. Okay, there's a seed pod right there. You can see the little black seeds in there. There we go. So there's lots of them, and they come out very readily. They just pop right out. I'm trying to catch it without it dropping. So that one wasn't ready. That one wasn't a viable seed, but this black one is. Okay, and that's what it looks like though, so you can't even see the seeds, they just drop right on the ground. All right, and this row starts my tomatoes. My tomatoes have done very, very well. I'm sort of at the end of my tomatoes season. I do definitely still have some green. Whoa, look at this. Jeez. That's ridiculous. I can't even believe I still have anything that large at this time in the season. That is Dr. White's. It has been by far my favorite tomato in the garden. Dr. White's and Cherokee Purple. They've been my best. I have basil under here. I'm hoping that it goes to seed before it gets too cold and it dies. I probably don't need all of it to go to seed, but it's not at its peak anymore. It's kind of orangey and sunburned. This is white tomasil I still have. So I still have some good sized tomatoes. But then, if you come down here, this is where I've had to remove all of the tomatoes in this area because they were just so terribly diseased that I just pulled them right out. So both sides, tomatoes on both sides, I will not do that next year. I'll only have tomatoes on one side, and then the other side will be a different planting. Maybe flowers, maybe vegetables, I don't know yet. All right, this bed, the plants are trying to escape, doing a good job. But this is the ground cherries, eggplant, and tomatillos. Ground cherries, this is pineapple ground cherry. As you can see, it is doing very well. In the middle, it was very hard to get to the middle initially, and then I discovered if I just put some landscaping fabric on the ground, I can lift up the branches and reach the ground cherries better. I've harvested so many, it's terrible. Eggplants, took them a very long time. You can see a nice little eggplant right there. Took them a very long time to actually produce anything. Tomatillos, I don't know if I'll grow those again either. They seem to fall to the ground a lot faster than what they develop. Let me see if I can find you one. All right, this is a ripe one. It's a purple tomatillo. They fall to the ground so easily that, again, they're just difficult to pick. And I have beautiful cosmos. Isn't that pretty? And then this one is a bit scraggly. Not sure why, but this corner of the garden right here didn't do very well. So, and this part that was trying to escape the garden is called a pink banana squash, and it is huge. This is unfortunately one of those ones that I didn't get picked, or I didn't get planted very early. I started it early enough, but it didn't get planted. But this is how big it is. What? It's huge. It's a squash. So we'll see what happens with that guy, how big it gets. Here is another tomato bed, mostly cherry tomatoes on the opposite side. And then I've got half and half cherries, half slicers. Oh, they're so pretty. They're magnificent. And look at, these are starting to dry up. Look at that. This will be excellent bird food. The birds are gonna love them. This is my paste tomato bed. I grew 3 different paste tomatoes, and I will for sure grow 2 out of the 3 again. I will definitely grow Amish paste, which is on this side. These have gotten quite large. Oh, popped it right off the vine. Oh, I'm getting bit up. So the paste tomato I would definitely grow again. Then I grew San Marzano. I will absolutely never grow them again. Almost every single one of them have gotten blossom end rot. And yes, I know that it's a calcium deficiency in the plant's inability to pull up calcium in the soil. And it has more to do with watering than anything else. But I need tomatoes that will do well despite the environment. So, because sometimes I just won't get up here to water. So the other side here, those are Romas, and the Romas didn't get staked when they should have, so they are a mess, but they're doing all right. I would definitely grow the Romas again. In front of the tomatoes, I have beans, And my favorite bean is, I think it's this one right here actually, is the Kalima bean. I'm super, super excited about the Kalima bean. This is actually my second kind of harvest of them, second grouping. I had one nice big harvest, and then I went probably about almost 2 weeks of just being very dry, so I didn't get another harvest. So I'm super glad to come out here and see all of these Kalima beans. These are perfect for my dilly beans, because the dilly beans, you want straight beans that go into the container nicely. So these will be perfect for dilly beans. I also noticed that any of the beans that I grew that are colored, this one is the Sequoia, and then I had Tanya's pink potted beans and purple dove beans. I really like the purple dove and the Tanya's pink potted. These were attacked terribly by the Japanese beetles. So they, I guess in effect, they sort of acted as a nice trap crop to keep the June beetles or the Japanese beetles off my other green beans. Here's the other side of that paste tomato bed, and this is what I mean about the pink potted. They're beautiful beans, I really like them, but look at how much damage they sustained. I didn't treat them, I didn't spray anything, but they definitely suffered. And here's the other purple one. This is the purple dove. We like the purple dove bean. It was very nice. It does have a fuzzy texture though, so anybody that doesn't like fuzzy beans, that one might not be the best one for you. And these were beautiful too. We enjoyed those. We also very much enjoyed the dragon tongue beans, and I think at this point, I think that's like spider mites, and that looks like spider mite damage to me. And that's the green salad tomato on this side and the delicious tomato on that side. I mean, honestly, aren't they just gorgeous? So pretty. I'm glad I planted so many. All right, the next two beds are squashes. So this is my pumpkin bed, which is almost done. I've only got the plants still in the ground because I've got 3 small-ish pumpkins left that are still kind of forming. Although, look at how nice this vine still is. It's still so healthy, it's putting out flowers. Isn't that something else? I treated it once for the vine borers, and I just left it alone otherwise. I had planted sunflowers that were really struggling, and once the vines started to die, obviously the sunflowers shut up. This is my squash bed. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter brought me up bug spray. So this is the butternut. The butternut is done very well. I've picked 2 already, so this is the size of most of them. So I'm just letting them finish hardening up. That's butternut, and I got honey nut too. It's hard to tell the difference. They look very similar, but the honey nut is a little bit more kind of, I don't know, larger at the top. But I've got a nice amount of both of them. And then I've got some spaghetti squash. Here's one of the spaghetti squashes. There's a nice little spaghetti squash, or I'm sorry, a butternut squash. And these are the giant marigolds. I'm finally getting one plant that is blooming. It has taken them forever. It's September and it's just now blooming. So it's taken a long time. There's a spaghetti squash hiding within the butternuts. Look at all those butternuts. There's like a personal size one there. Then I have some zucchinis. These, I planted all of these very late. So these have sustained absolutely 0 vine borer damage. So I've got some zucchinis here. And then the other one that my family really liked, oh, that's funny, I'm coming around the edge of the bed, and thankfully my husband missed that with the mower, just barely, but look at it. Yeah, it's a nice little spaghetti squash. All right, these little round zucchini, I don't even know what they're called, I don't remember, but they're round zucchini. They're really good at this size. They can be a little bit larger and still be good. Cut in half and then filled with sausage and rice and just some seasonings. They are delicious. These ones are very nice, these spaghetti squash. So the squash had a really good season. So we should be really good with, ooh, look at that. That's nice. Look at the size. So we did good. I didn't treat any of the powdery mildew or any of that stuff. I just kind of left it alone. Okay, here's an example of a wild and crazy bed too. The cosmos are completely growing over top of the peppers. There's peppers in there. There's also beets. So, I mean, you can kind of see. I had an incident while I had friends over. I picked what I thought was supposed to be a paprika pepper from over here. Come to find out, the Scotch bonnet peppers are on the opposite side of this cosmos, and I accidentally picked that and sliced it with my bare hands, and I had company coming over, and I couldn't do anything really with my hands. For like 12 hours they were burning so badly. So my advice to you is keep your hot peppers far, far, far away from your sweet peppers. I've got sweet potato vine, and I think this is, yeah, it looks like one of the pumpkin vines came over to invade. Yeah, I'm just kind of letting it go. These are sweet potatoes in here. They're really beautiful. So these are peanut plants. Right here, that's a peanut. It's not ready yet. It'll die back. It's a mole, the old didn't eat it all. Then I've got zinnias and weeds that the bees are loving. This one is purple prince. Isn't that beautiful? Kind of looks a little pink on my camera right now because it's the evening, but really super pretty. I got a spider in that one. Isn't it pretty? Here's another one of those candy cane zinnias, but this time it's orange and yellow. It's really pretty. Here's the other side of the pepper area, pepper and beets. And I mean, you can see some of the beet leaves down here. I've harvested some. I mean, this one definitely could probably be harvested, but most of them you can't even see. And some of the peppers are doing well. Like, I won't even harvest these at all right now. It's a 5-color Chinese. This one, I think, Serrano. I got a couple of Serrano chilies off of it. This one is shishito, which I haven't. Oh yeah, I did pick one of the shishitos. So yeah, my hands were terribly burning. All right, this is the potato bed. I harvested from here all the way down to there, my daughter and I. And that bag right there is bunny cage cleanings that we kept in the bag so that we can kind of lay them out, and we just haven't done it yet. Here's my second planting of potatoes, which is also apparently pretty weedy. I need to pull these out because, as you can see, they're turning yellow and starting to die back. In this bed I have okra up front here, and I've already picked some. This is Clemson spineless, and it's doing very well. I have Brussels sprouts, which have not started sprouting. I don't know if it's me, the timing, lack of some sort of something. I've got a bunch of nasturtiums, and these marigolds are looking absolutely lovely. I am so glad that I planted these. I had to plant them 3 times before I finally got some marigolds that actually took, but the ones that I planted in this bed are doing beautifully. I've got pak choi right here that's going to seed. Here's some that's already gone to seed, and I've collected the majority of it. Here's the seed pod. You just break it open and you get all those tiny little seeds. You can break them over top of a bag so that you don't lose them. Then I have broccoli. I didn't do very well with the broccoli. I've got some growing right there that I'm letting go to seed, and hopefully I'll be able to collect it. I did harvest some off of these plants here. You can see where I cut them off and just kind of let it send up some side shoots. Okay, I already picked a bunch of cabbage that was in here. These ones were already really loose, like this one right here is starting to send up a center stalk. And that one I'm hoping will do the same thing so that I can collect seed from those. These are the only 2 cauliflower plants that survived. I'm not entirely sure, but I really want to do better next year because those are some of my family's favorite foods. I've been collecting a bunch of the nasturtium and the marigold and all of those. Here's the other side of the okra. I have to show you this. So I missed picking okra, and look at the size of that thing. So I'll let this continue to grow, and this will be my seed pod. I'll collect the seeds out of that one. This one's gonna flower. Okay. Here's my onions and leeks. Pretty much the only thing in this bed now is leeks. This is almost all leeks. There's a bare patch right there where I pulled up some leeks and then just left the leaves there. My onions did okay. They are still drying. Here's one of the onions that I planted and left behind until it got a little bit bigger. These are almost ready to pull out. They've fallen over sideways, and I can pull these out whenever and leave them to dry to cure. Alright, this bed is my sweet corn bed with all of the beautiful, beautiful sunflowers. The sweet corn did okay considering I didn't do anything to it. The ears are very, very small, but they taste delicious. Like this is very, very small and didn't get pollinated very well. You can feel that it only got pollinated up to like there. The rest is just corn silk. Let's see if I can find some. Yeah, it looks like it all has to come down now because even the ones that are left behind are kind of getting opened. But they're very tiny ears, but they're good. They are good. They're very sweet. We're extremely happy with it. So next year I'll just work on trying to get them bigger. This one was my tallest mammoth sunflower, and it is, oh my gosh, I don't know, 10 feet? 11? And the one right next to it is doing pretty good too. It's starting to stay. Alright, this bed right here is the rice bed. So this half I left in the bed just to see when is the best time to pick it, and that half I've already cut down and it is drying inside bags. So this is basically what it looks like. And then there's little white rice kernels inside that once it dries, this splits open, these little pods split open and reveal the white rice. So this is called Upland Daborskian rice. This is called Job's tears. It's a grain. You can eat it as a grain, like porridge. Once it's ready, it turns almost black. So I think this is almost ready. It's more like a brown. You can make jewelry out of the little grain granules, and they look beautiful, and that's my objective. I don't think I can possibly grow enough for us to eat. Nice. Okay, then this is this strawberry bed. I have all my zinnias on this side, some nasturtiums that got completely shadowed over by the zinnias, but I think that helped in the summer sun because now they're starting to come back a little bit. And I've actually gotten quite a bit of strawberries. Look at the flowers. I'm super excited. I mean, there's another one. I just picked a whole handful today, so there's not a lot left, but I let that one go. And then I planted some gladiolas at the end. These are just from Dollar Tree, and they put on quite the show. I'm just leaving them. I really would love to pick more, but I've watched the hummingbirds come and enjoy them, so I'm leaving them so the hummingbirds can continue to enjoy them. And then this last bed, I really wanted it to be a nice bed because it is closest to the road and people can see it when they go by. And of course, this is the one that looks the worst and the weediest. So it has cosmos and nasturtium on the end here, and then potatoes and a whole bunch of weeds all the way up to here. And then I found that I had a couple of beautiful asparagus that did survive, so that's why they are there. But it's kind of random. I think I've only got 3 plants of the asparagus that survived in the whole bed. So next year this will again be cleaned up, de-weeded. The potatoes will come out, but I will plant a bunch more asparagus. Look at this guy. Man, isn't that beautiful? They're looking kind of pink on the video, but they're actually like a purple. They're beautiful. They're so pretty. Then I found I've got some California poppies here that did really, really well. They're closing up. But then I have these. Guys, what are these things? Do any of you know what kind of flowers these are? Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. I don't know if it's an annual, a perennial, I don't know. But I'm hoping that they'll dry up really nice so that I can save some seeds. They're so pretty. Alright friends, you can't really tell just how dark it is, but it is, I mean, I've just got probably minutes before it gets very dark. So I finally got through an entire garden tour, which is remarkable. I've done a lot of harvesting. I mean a lot of harvesting. I've already put up 30 quarts, actually a little bit more than 30 quarts of tomatoes. I've put up peppers and onions and tons of basil and leeks and green beans and pickles and eggplant, and I mean so much stuff, so much. So the garden has definitely been prolific for me. I'm super happy with this season. I have learned so much. And you know what's really funny? I find it amusing that I'm already looking forward to next year's garden planning even before this year is over. I know, silly, right? Alright friends, if you can identify any of those flowers that I asked about, I would love to know what they are. And thank you so much for sticking with me during this dry period with no videos. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye-bye for now. Actually forgot one more thing before I go. Here is an update on the prunings, so the suckers that I put into 5-gallon buckets. I haven't gotten any tomatoes off of them yet, but as far as disease goes, they look really good still. I mean, that one has a little bit, but look at the tomatoes on them. So I'm going to keep an eye on the weather, and when it starts to get cold, these guys are going to go into the garage, and I will see how long I can keep them going with bringing them in at night during cold weather. Probably need to fertilize them a little bit, give them a little bit of food, because they haven't had anything, and I've only watered them probably once when they were desperate and drooping. But these are a red tomato, and then these are yellow pears. I did give one to a dear friend that stopped by, and then my sister-in-law, we were finally able to give her ground cherries. So, but otherwise these look great. I have 2 more down at our house too that are looking amazing. So it can be done, and our summers are not too short that you can't get tomatoes off the suckers, guys. All right, that's really it, friends. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.